Our electricity grid is getting seriously full. It's one of the biggest problems we're facing in the energy transition, but it happens so quietly. So, what if we could stop the grid's traffic jams before they even begin? Well, today we're going to look at a really smart new solution from the Netherlands that's doing just that.
Okay, let's get right into it. The easiest way to wrap your head around this whole problem is to stop thinking about the grid as just a bunch of wires and start picturing it like a massive highway system. And right now, that highway is stuck in one giant countrywide traffic jam.
Take a look at this. This map of the Netherlands, it's not showing rain or sunshine. The areas you see in red and yellow, that's gridlock. Total gridlock. It means the electricity highways are so jammed up that in a lot of places, you can't connect any new large-scale projects, whether they're producing or consuming power. The on-ramps are closed. So, what's causing these huge energy traffic jams all of a sudden? Well, you might actually be surprised to hear that the culprit is something we definitely want more of. It's the race to decarbonize. All the things we desperately need to fight climate change, more solar, more wind, millions of EVs hitting the roads, electric heat pumps in our homes, big e-boilers for industry, all of this is putting a crazy amount of strain on an infrastructure that, let's be honest, was built for a totally different time.
And here's the real kicker. If all these new green energy projects can't actually connect to the grid, the entire energy transition just slows to a crawl. This congestion isn't just some technical inconvenience. It's a massive roadblock standing in the way of us hitting our climate goals. Now, for years, grid operators have had a way of dealing with these jams. Let's call it the old rerouting plan. The technical term for it is redispatch. Redispatch is, at its heart, completely reactive. Think about it this way. It's like the highway patrol only starting to set up detours after a massive 10-car pileup has already happened and traffic is backed up for miles. I mean, it's a solution, sure, but it's a late one. This timeline really tells the whole story, and it shows the fundamental flaw in the old system. So the energy market closes at noon the day before the power is needed. Everybody locks in their plans, but it's only after that, around 3 p.m., that the system operator runs the numbers and discovers, uh-oh, there's going to be a traffic jam tomorrow. By then, all the cars are already committed to their routes. Nobody checked the traffic report first. So how do they fix it once they spot the jam? Well, first, they find the bottleneck. Then, they literally pay a power plant on one side of the traffic jam to power down. But here's the thing, the grid always has to be perfectly balanced. So at the exact same time, they have to pay another power plant somewhere else to ramp up its production to make up for the difference. Now, this old plan, it kind of worked for a while when the traffic was lighter. But as our energy highways get more and more crowded, some major cracks are starting to show. Yeah, redispatch is just not cutting it anymore. And for a few really big reasons. First off, it's getting incredibly expensive. Second, a lot of the new green assets, like batteries, are already busy doing other jobs for the grid. Plus, there's a smaller and smaller pool of old-school power plants available to even do these maneuvers. And maybe, worst of all, this reactive system opens the door for companies to kind of game the market, which is never a good thing. So it's become super clear that we have to flip the script entirely. We have to stop just reacting to traffic jams and start proactively preventing them from ever even happening. And that right there brings us to this new, much smarter traffic system that they're pioneering in the Netherlands. The whole idea is to act before the market closes, before all the cars even get on the highway. Okay, so a huge part of this new approach is a tool called the Dispatch Limitation Product, or DLP for short. You can think of it as a proactive agreement. The system operator can go to a big power producer or user in a known congested area and ask them ahead of time to voluntarily limit their plans. And the cool thing is, it works on both sides of the equation. For a wind farm, the operator might call up and say, hey, we're predicting a jam tomorrow afternoon, so can you please plan on not producing at your absolute max capacity? And for a big factory, it's the same idea. Could you please plan on not drawing your maximum amount of power during that same peak time? All right, so there's another tool in the toolbox, and it's called the must-run product. This one is especially handy for things like batteries. The system operator can actually ask a battery owner to guarantee that they will be either charging or discharging a specific amount of power at a certain time. This basically creates a little pocket of relief right where it's needed most. And here is where it all comes together beautifully. Look at this new timeline. See that? All of these new tools, the DLP, the must run, they're used before noon, before that market gate slams shut.
So by the time everyone submits their final plans, the potential traffic jam has already been engineered right out of the system. It's proactive traffic planning, but for electricity. So what's the real-world impact of all this? What happens when you start managing our energy grid with this kind of foresight and flexibility?
Oh, the benefits are huge, seriously. For the operator, it's just plain easier and often cheaper to manage the grid this way. But, crucially, it allows so many more assets, especially renewables and batteries, to actually become part of the solution. And because it's a market-based approach that happens ahead of time, there's way less risk of anybody gaming the system. There's a quote from the source material that just nails it. It says that with this new system, the grid operator can finally be confident that new projects will help solve congestion, not make it worse. It completely changes the dynamic. A new wind farm isn't another car about to cause a jam. It's a flexible partner that can help prevent one.
And this, right here, is the single most important takeaway from all of this. By getting ahead of gridlock, this proactive approach literally makes more space on the grid. That means more wind, more solar, and more batteries can connect to the system. And they can do it way faster. It accelerates the entire energy transition. So yeah, this shift from being reactive to being proactive, it's a total game changer. It unlocks the grid, turning what was a bottleneck into a super highway for green energy. And it really leaves us with one powerful, forward-looking question. If we now have the tools to make these new green assets part of the solution, what reason is there left not to connect them?